Peace everyone, Unmask here, and welcome back to the Drawing Journal. Alright, so as you can tell from the title, today we are going to be playing with some of the brush and pencil powder blender. Now I've only used this this will be my third time actually, so I don't have a lot of experience with the powder blender, and it's it's still really new to me. And I recently did a review of Aliona's new book that incorporates the powder blender, shows the techniques that she uses in creating colored pencil portraits. So today I'm not doing a portrait, I'm not going crazy and trying something real difficult. I just have like a little apple here, and what I did, so real quick, the paper that I'm working on is am I echoing? Hopefully there's not an issue with the live stream. Let me know if I keep echoing, because I have my sound levels. I see my sound levels and everything seems good there. I appreciate you letting me know. So if I continue echoing, okay, I think I might be good. As I was saying, the paper that I'm working on is the Mi-teintes touch paper, the Canson Mi-teintes touch paper. And I just used Winsor & Newton masking fluid, which I think this is like the second or third time that I used the masking fluid. I don't know. I don't really like it. It makes the paper a bit wet, and it's kind of rippled now. So I don't think masking fluid is going to really be the best choice to use when doing the powder blender technique. Hello Anne and Abigail. Thanks for letting me know that I'm not echoing anymore. But anyway, so what I've done so far is, as you can see, I've used the masking fluid to mask the apple, and I've also already applied a thin layer of the powder blender onto this Mi-teintes touch paper. Now this Mi-teintes touch paper, I'm pretty certain that it's a gessoed paper. It has kind of a sanded texture to it. So it's very different than the pastel Mi-teintes paper. It's specifically the Mi-teintes touch. So don't get those mixed up if you do end up ordering this paper. There's a very, very clear difference. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay down some color. The instructions or the process in which Aliona goes through in her book, she doesn't really concern herself with pencil stroke or direction or anything like that. The only key component is to make sure you're not pressing too hard. You don't want to push into the tooth of the paper or anything like that. So I'm going to do kind of like an old school oil painting background for this, this cheesy apple drawing that I'm going to do. So I'm going to incorporate some yellows, some browns, some reds. I'm even going to throw some greens back there to give it some highlight, because this is going to be a red apple, so I'm going to add some complement to the background. I have absolutely no idea how this is going to work out. So you all are experiencing what could very likely be a pretty big failure on my part. So hopefully you're ready for that, because I am mentally prepared for this not to work out very well. The other times that I've used the powder blender, I didn't have the polychromos pencils, so I'm exclusively using my polychromos pencils because so many times I've been told after my initial failures that the luminance pencils or the wax-based pencils in general don't want to blend very efficiently with the powder blender. So I'm only going to be using the polychromos. And I'm going to start off with a light layer of this yellow just to bring in a little bit of color into the background before switching to my more desaturated browns and even a little bit of black. And I think what I'll do is I'll kind of cut it off about here and just make like a wood grain table or something. So I'm just going to kind of cut it off here and just sketch it in, and then I'll blend it out to make sure everything's nice and smooth. Now this yellow is really, really light, so you might not be seeing much of it on the paper. And I don't really want a lot of it to show up. I just kind of want this color to be subtle as I add more and more layers. Now the other thing that I'm going to be doing, so as you can see, this isn't my tabletop. I have this taped down onto a board, and I can lift this board and move it around and stuff because I also have to spray the textured fixative in between layers. So yeah, so after I finish my first initial layers, blend it out a little bit, I'm going to take it outside, spray it. I'll leave it out there in the sun. It's like 35 degrees right now, so it should only take like 5 or 6 minutes to be safe enough to work on top of. But yeah, so that's kind of the plan for today. It's actually kind of short notice. I didn't really know what I was going to do in today's drawing journal because I didn't really have a lot of subjects in mind to talk about, and I didn't come across very many questions, if any, the past week on comments on videos or whatnot that gave me a strong subject to talk about. So I just decided to do this kind of last minute, and I've been really, really wanting to give this powder blender a true test by using the polychromos for the first time. Oh, hello, Anna. I'm glad to see you. Made it to a live stream. It's been a little while since you were on vacation and whatnot. So it's nice to see you here again. It's always a pleasure. Hello, Jesse. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. The weekend, oh my goodness, the weekend was beautiful. The weather was just spectacular. Anna and I, we discovered like this awesome pond slash park. Like, I can't believe we've never been here before. It's like on the other side of Katowice, but it's just fantastic. It has like a little sand beach that goes into a pond. There was people swimming, and the weather was amazing. It's a huge, gigantic park. There was barely anybody there. That was what's so shocking about it, and it's just gorgeous. There's like 3 or 4 ponds, and I think what I'm going to end up doing before the summer's over is I'm going to take my recording equipment. I'm going to go set up in the park, and I'm going to do like a little pastel scene of one of the ponds at the park because it's just so great. Oh, thank you, Abigail. I'm glad that you have so much confidence in my in my ability not to fail, because trust me, I've tried to use this powder blender before, and it was a failure, but it was simply more of a failure simply because I was using the luminance pencils and it doesn't take kindly to the wax base. But hopefully it will go a little bit smoother with the polychromos here. And so the other paper, also want to mention this, the other paper that I attempted to use the powder blender on was the the UArt sanded paper, and I don't like using colored papers on the UArt sanded paper because there's this really distinct one-directional kind of texture that goes through the sandpaper. It's almost like when they're spraying the sand onto the paper to make it sanded, it almost seems like you can see the spray pattern when they're making the paper, and it really turns me off from using colored pencil on it. Now when I'm using pastels, that all that texture is filled in, so I don't see that at all. But when using colored pencils, I really don't like it. This paper here, like I said, is more of a gessoed paper. It's a very consistent texture. It's almost, it actually, this paper reminds me a lot of the, what is it? The pastel mat, the Clairefontaine pastel mat, because the texture is so fine grain and consistent that you don't really get that uneven kind of one directional grain that you do with the UART paper if you're working with colored pencils. Anyways, I'm going to switch colors here. I'm going to add some browns now. Actually, no, I'm going to add some warm grays. I'm sorry that the weather hasn't been working out too well for you there in Finland. Really, over the weekend, it usually hasn't been that great. It's been during the week that the weather's been good, and then on the weekend it decides to like go overcast and rainy and stuff. Because last weekend, Anna and I went to play badminton, and we got to play like half of a game, and then out of nowhere, these clouds just like take over the sky and it starts raining on us. We were like running out of the park as fast as possible. And we were pretty far away from our flat. We walked all the way to Kościuszki Park, which is probably like maybe 3-4 at the most kilometers like north of us, and we walked the entire way there with the possibility of catching the tram back, but we had to walk to the tram stop. So we still got rained on a little bit, not too much. Before we were able to get to the tram and head home, but we were not planning on it raining like the way that it did, because it was pretty extreme. And that's kind of how the weekends have been. It seems like all the good weather happens during the week, and then we have to stay indoors all weekend. But when we discovered this park, I should know the name of it, but actually I don't know the name of this park that we discovered this weekend. I was giving Anna a hard time because I was like, how do you let me live in Poland for a year right next to this park, essentially right next to it, and never tell me about it? And she's lived here her whole life and never even knew about it. It was like a discovery for both of us. I don't know how she doesn't know about it. That just blows my mind. She lives so close to it. Hello, Adela. Thanks for coming by the live stream. So this weekend, yeah, aside from discovering that park and just having a really good walk around it and stuff like that, yesterday we went over and played some badminton, which we love to do. We haven't got to play very much this summer, so it was nice to get out for a few hours and play. Yes, so this is going to be an apple, and it has masking fluid on it. The reason I'm using the masking fluid is because to protect the main subject, I'm going to be blending this out, and I wish that I had the masking film that Aliona uses in her book when she goes through her examples, because the masking fluid warped this paper, which I really am kind of shocked by. I wasn't expecting it to warp the paper, because this Mi-teintes touch paper is like on a fairly thick poster board, like, so it's kind of surprising that it warped the way that it did. Yeah, I agree with you on that. We've gotten out a little bit now, so I think we're gonna keep the momentum going and continue to explore. We're certainly looking forward to going back to the little beach lake thingy, and then also this week. So this week I am technically planning it, but we're trying to get up north to the Baltic Sea, to stay. So next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we'd be back on Sunday. So we're trying to plan a nice little trip up to the Baltic Sea to stay for the weekend, because we haven't been out in a while. It's actually been, actually, I don't even know. I don't remember the last time we went on a trip. Honestly, I think the last time we went on a trip was we spent her birthday weekend last year in Krakow, and it's kind of been a while since then. So aside from me going back to the United States last summer, this is actually the first summer that I've gotten to spend in Poland, like the whole summer from the beginning to the end, because last year I went back to the United States. But yeah, we need to get out and travel a bit more. I would really like to, especially now that I have residency here in Poland. I can freely travel and not be bound by, any restrictions. So I certainly want to get out more, do more things like that. The only problem is I have to maintain like my productivity for not just my YouTube channel but also for my Patreon page, because I don't want to lose patrons because I'm like, oh, I'm on vacation, so there's no tutorial this week or something along those lines, which might very well be the case next week. And also I'm also trying to get my intro to colored pencil course planned and executed, and I'm going to be working on that this week. I actually totally forgot that next week, I think it is next week. Wait, no, tomorrow's the 1st, so next week is just the 8th. So in 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, we're planning on going up to the Baltic Sea, but this week, if I don't have it planned by the end of this week, then we're not going, because we're trying to go with a couple of friends that live in western Poland on the border of Germany, and we're trying to get everything planned. And I said that if I can't really get it done by the end of this week, then we have to scrap the idea, because I don't like to plan things like last minute. So the cutoff time is like the end of this week, and it's really hard to find a good hotel in the vicinity of restaurants that we're able to eat at, because both my wife and I are vegan, and the Baltic Sea is, that's where all the seafood's at. So it's kind of tricky to find decent places to eat that offer like vegan options for us, because we don't want to go up there and just eat French fries. I mean, that's always like a really easy cop out. We can go to pretty much any restaurant and get French fries, but we don't want to spend 4 days eating French fries. So we need a couple options, because most hotels here don't have like kitchenettes and refrigerators and things like that, unless you go to like the 4 or 5 star hotels. And you should all know by now that I don't make that kind of money, so we gotta vacation on a budget. which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with. But I'm certainly looking forward to the trip up there. I've been wanting to go up to the sea ever since I came to Poland, and so most likely we're going to find a way to make it happen. And beyond that, I hope to, I'm definitely bringing my camera, so I hope to record some video and, do a little vlog or something like that and share that experience with everybody. Because I haven't done that in a while, and I kind of miss it. I used to do kind of vloggy stuff for, travels and adventures and things like that, and I haven't done one in a while, so hopefully I'll be able to get something like that together if we do make it up there to the sea. I just now noticed that the scratching of the pencil on the paper is quite loud, so hopefully that's not too annoying for everybody. This paper is not as scratchy as the sanded paper, so it doesn't really eat through my pencil too fast, which is nice. Alright, let's switch up some colors here. Let's add a little bit of this. What is this? This is the Violet Caput Mortem Violet. This is the more reddish brown. Get some of this color in there. So the masking fluid really, I don't know what it's doing right now, besides making this paper all warped and gross. I feel like I could have probably just worked around the apple. Because I am going to be spraying the textured fixative, it's not like I can't fix the edges, and I'm going to have to fix the edges anyway. So honestly, because the subject of the apple is so simple, it's not as complex as, say, a portrait or something like that, I probably could have done this without the masking fluid and been perfectly fine. So yeah, at this point it's a bit of a regret, but what can I say? You live and learn. The masking fluid came out of the bottle like that was a lot of doorbell rings. I am expecting mail, so I should probably answer that. Give me 1 minute. No, it was not mail. It was just people. You don't escape random people knocking on your door, even when you move to a different country. Thought that was only in America, but that's definitely not the case. I thought if I moved from America, I'd escape the Jehovah's Witnesses. Nope. Still once a week. It's unbelievable. No, I wish it did, although I can assure you that the mail that I'm waiting for is the least exciting thing on the planet Earth. It would literally be me unboxing pieces of a box. That's the mail that I'm expecting right now, is that I had to get some cardboard envelopes so that I can send prints, and I needed to get some cardboard spacers so that I can send drawings. So it could turn into an unboxing live stream, but I can assure you it would be nothing worth watching or unboxing. I'm unboxing a box. That's basically what I would be doing. What else? So that brings up something else I was considering. So I finally found like a good business. Anna helped me a lot. She helped me find this place that sells like cardboard envelopes, like really sturdy cardboard envelopes that I could send prints in. So perhaps by the end of the summer, and most likely certainly by the end of the year, I will be able to set up selling prints on my website as a regular thing. So you might be able to start buying prints of some of my artwork by the end of the year. So that's kind of exciting because it's been a long time coming for such a thing. To sell prints. I never really had very many people asking me if I sold prints, but when I did my Kickstarter, a lot of people were getting prints, and I thought that it would be, it's always good if you're looking to be a professional artist and do art full time. You have to find ways to make more. You have to find ways to make money doing things other than drawing one picture for one person. So prints is a really good option for a lot of people, and you don't want to go through like those third-party companies where you upload your image, they do all the packaging and shipping and all that nonsense, because it's just going to cut into your profit margin by like 70-80%. So it's always worth putting in the extra work to find a way to manage to sell your prints yourselves. In a lot of cases, you can even budget in getting a decent printer so that you can print your own prints, and then just ship them yourselves. And so far, I don't have a printer. I go to the print shop because I can get prints here in Poland for like just a teeny tiny fraction of the price of what it would cost if I were to go outsource it, order them offline, or ever get them anywhere from America. So I can get prints at a pretty decent rate, and it's helpful. And I think that I'll be setting up a way to buy prints on my website by the end of the year, as long as these cardboard envelopes that I'm going to be receiving soon are a good enough quality where I feel like I can safely send prints like overseas and things like that without having to worry too much about them being damaged and having to resend them. But if you were to budget for your own printer, the best part about that is that you would never have to buy more prints than what sell. Because if I'm going to be selling prints on my website, what I'll most likely do is order, I don't know, maybe as little as 20 of all the prints that I'd be selling, and then if I see one selling more than the other, then I'd get a little bit more of those next time, or so forth. So that, and I could end up wasting a bit of money buying prints that don't necessarily sell. Whereas if you have your own printer, then you can kind of you can just print them as you sell them, so you never actually waste any money. Alright, so down here I'm going to be adding the tabletop. So I'm just going to put a bunch of brown down here. And I'm not being real exact or anything because I have plenty of room for error, but it's not. This is not going to be a masterpiece in any regard, so I'm not really concerned. Going to add all this brown down here, and maybe a few other colors, a few last little bit of color before I blend it out for the first time. So we're gonna see all this like pencil grain kind of disappear, and see how well this yellow blends into here. So this is kind of exciting once I finish this, because it looks like garbage to me right now. It just looks awful. But once I'm going to be using this to blend, by the way, so in just a few minutes we're going to blend for the first time without paint thinner. No paint thinner. It's exciting. Trying something new. Another thing, so I ordered the supplies that I need for my Intro to Color Pencil course, so I'm going to be starting that real soon. I'm super excited to get that course out. I've been getting a lot of people saying that they're looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to getting it out to everybody. I'm still right now, so update on that course. Right now I'm still in the middle of building the course just on paper. I haven't drawn anything or anything like that. I'm just kind of laying it out the same process that I went through with the pastel course. Kind of laying it out on paper, planning it. Essentially, anybody familiar with a lesson plan in school or something like that, that's basically what I'm doing right now, is creating a lesson plan. Like, what is it that somebody starting out with colored pencils really needs to learn in the beginning to set them up to liking the medium? Because I know a lot of people can start working with colored pencils and they kind of get burnt out on them. They don't like them as much. They kind of feel like they wasted money buying the stuff. So what is it that you feel like you need to learn or to get through in order to like colored pencils? And that's kind of that's kind of the beginning premise of the course. Like, not only is it going to teach you the techniques to help you along and get better and create something really nice with colored pencils, but also do it in a way that's enjoyable. It's not long, drawn out, and boring. So I haven't quite decided on what types of projects I'm going to be doing with the colored pencils, because obviously for an intro to colored pencils, I don't want to do anything too complex. So yes, so this colored pencil course, it's going to be the same as the pastel course. Like, I don't want to throw a bunch of drawing techniques into the course, because I think that's something that's going to take away from using colored pencils. Because if I'm doing a drawing more, if it's focused too much on drawing, then I might as well do a drawing course, not a colored pencil course. I want the course to be focused on what you can do with colored pencils, and not so much what you can draw with them, if that makes sense. So and that's what makes selecting the projects for this course so much more difficult than the pastel course. Sorry, I'm running out of liquid in my mouth. It's starting to hurt to talk. So yeah, the one really specific idea that I'm going to be incorporating is a still life. 100% there's going to be a still life drawing project for the Intro to Color Pencil course, because you can explore so many different things with still life. you have, you have drawing skills if you make the still life complicated enough. Obviously, I won't be doing such a thing, but it will be a still life. You can have all kinds of fun with colors and contrast and texture. You can get a lot out of just doing a simple still life. So that's what I'm probably going to. That's what I'm certainly going to be incorporating into the course is a simple still life. Like this apple doesn't take drawing skills. Anybody can draw an apple shape, a really general apple shape. It doesn't even have to be a perfect apple shape because apples come in all kinds of different shapes. The stem, there's no real drawing skill to do a stem or a leaf. The leaf, honestly, is probably the most difficult part of an apple. But I also want to lay it out. So the way that I did the pastel course, as many of you that have the course already know, I did it very step by step. Like step 1, do this, step 2, do this, and that's exactly what I'm going to do with the colored pencil course. So when it comes to doing the still life, it's going to be like, okay, you know how you have your sketch. Let's work on the background. Let's work on the foreground. Let's work on our main subject. Why are we doing this? Things like that. So it's not going to be. It's not just going to be for the super beginner that just bought their first set of colored pencils. It's going to be for people that just want to build up on some of the foundations, the basic foundations of colored pencil techniques, specifically creating texture and creating gradients, and the importance of thinking about those things separately when using colored pencils, at least the way that I use colored pencils, because when I use colored pencils, I think of those things differently. I separate the color gradients from the texture because I feel like it's easier process to look at the gradient that's happening underneath the drawing and then adding the texture on top. So be doing a lot of explaining those type of basic ideas and themes that I try to convey in a lot of my colored pencil tutorials. And it will be real-time drawing as well, obviously, just like the pastel course. So you can expect the course to be around 4 to 6 hours from beginning to end, although I am looking to make the course a little bit shorter than the pastel course. I'm not going to have as many projects. I'm not going to have 5 separate projects like I did in the pastel course because doing such a thing in colored pencils would probably take a lot longer. It would probably be like a 10 to 14 hour tutorial if I were to do so many projects. Alright, now that we have some of that, let's go ahead and take our little spongy thing and see what this blends like. This is working really well, actually. So I'm just going to do kind of like little circles, I guess. And it's, wow, there's just no pencil grain at all. When I did this for the first and second time, I did not have this kind of experience. This is fantastic already. It's so unique the way that it's blending out right now. I really have no words to describe how interesting this feels. And I'm going right up against the edge of my masking fluid here. I'm not having any issue blending right up to the edge. Let's get some of this yellow blended out here. I wanna kind of get the yellow blended out first so I don't bring in too much of the brown. This is very, very interesting. There's just absolutely no pencil strokes or anything. It's just great. It's so smooth and soft. I mean, hopefully you guys see that on the camera, but that is just, it's so consistent. Actually, it actually kind of looks like leather right now. And I mean, if you look at this mess here, I'm going to do this half, and then we'll compare it really quick. But I can see some of the paper texture, very small cracks. It almost looks like a really fine leather. Yes, I agree, Chrissy. This is super revolutionary. It is so interesting. I'm going to go a little bit faster and see just how. So I'm going to go just horizontally, because I do see that where I'm pressing into doing circles, I'm starting to see a little bit of the sponge come through. So I'm going to go more just horizontal to try to get a more consistent blend. And look at that. Oh my goodness. So I didn't press hard. I didn't try. No trying was involved in this at all. Just going back and forth, and it is very smooth. It is super smooth. That is just incredible. Now, obviously, I'm going to be adding a lot more layers over top of this, and I gotta say, like, I really like the look of it. It's kind of painterly right now with just the first initial layer. I mean, a lot of the paper is showing through, so I can see that adding 2-3 more additional layers is really going to create some like really lovely depth. Oh, thank you, On. Yeah, I look forward to seeing your response to the color pencil, the intro to color pencil course. And one of the things that I'm going to mention is that the color pencil course, though it's still going to be a fairly lengthy course, still going to put a ton of effort into it, just like I did the pastel course. It's actually only going to be $10. So the intro to color pencil course, it's only going to be $10 as opposed to the $25 that the pastel course is. And I'm doing it so cheap for two reasons. One, I want more people to buy it. That's the honest truth. I would love for 10 people every month to buy the intro to color pencil course. And I think at $10, a lot of people are willing to pay that for a 4-hour course on colored pencils. And the other reason is I want it to entice people that are new to colored pencils, or people that haven't tried colored pencils but were thinking about doing it. I don't want them to have to spend a lot of money to learn how to do it, and I don't want them to have to like scour YouTube for a bunch of usually mediocre intro to color pencil stuff, because sometimes older videos on YouTube, they could only be like 10 or 15 minutes maximum, and there's a lot of people teaching art and teaching stuff on YouTube, and there's very few that I think are actually good. And well, at least from my perspective of learning, I have to say that, because some people, they learn a lot from people that I wouldn't necessarily regard as like a very good teacher. And I'm not referring to anybody specifically. I just have to point that out. But some people learn certain ways, and other people learn other ways, and yeah. So I'm gonna keep blending this out really quick. Anyways, so yeah, that's the other reason I'm making the Intro to Colored Pencil course so cheap, because I want it to be so accessible to people that are thinking about getting into colored pencils, that I don't want to scare them away with a price higher than that. Gosh, so effortlessly, it just blends. Not even trying. It almost feels like it's staining the paper. Like, it just stained it with like this reddish brown color. It's really cool. Alright, I'm going to blend this out down here now, where we have a different color of brown. Now I don't know what's happening over here. There seems to be like this weirdness right here. But I don't know what that is. There's kind of this mark right here where the paper no longer has texture. I might have spilled something on it. All right. So that's about as blended as I think it's going to get on this initial layer. See, I have a little thing here too. So I don't know if you can see that. Let me zoom in a little bit, maybe. So it's right here. And it's like glue or something. Maybe I don't know. I must have gotten something on there, but yeah. That's probably not the powder blender's fault. It's probably my fault. Or there was something on the paper that I just didn't recognize. Because I can't scrape it up. So I don't know what that is. But it's over here as well. I must have messed something up. But there we go. There's the first layer. I think it looks pretty good, actually. So I'm going to take this. That's not the doorbell, but that's downstairs. Hold on a second. So I'm going to try to, actually I'm going to take this brush, I'm going to take it outside and I'm going to brush the dust off, and I'm going to put a layer of this on here, and then I'll come back and I'll talk to you guys. A lot of chat's been going on, so I missed some things. Real quick, I'm going to clean this tip here. One of the things about the textured fixative is you got to make sure the tip is clean. You can use a little X-Acto knife. Just kind of scrape it clean. Okay, so I hear the elevator coming, so I think my doorbell's about to ring again, so give me another minute. It could be mail. I hear him coming out of the elevator. Maybe. There it is. All right, one moment. Yes. Okay, so it was the mail. I don't know how I'm gonna. Okay, so it is huge. I was not expecting this. So like I said, I got sheets of cardboard for shipping artwork and stuff like that. And when I answered the door, this giant package was sitting there. And I was like, what is this? But let me turn my camera. Hold on a second. You guys gotta see how giant this is. So I have to do this. Do you guys see how huge that box is? It's gigantic. I don't know if perspective you can tell. Okay, so there's my door. Here's my door. It's like further than halfway up my door, and it's like 15 centimeters thick. So I was not expecting that. It is ridiculous. Oh my gosh. Now I gotta figure out if I can get my camera back up here. Sorry, I just had to show you guys. Yes, literally unboxing boxes right now. All right, let me spray this really quick. I just can't get over how big that is. Anyways, let me spray this with the textured fixative because I've already shaken up the can quite a bit before the live stream so that I didn't have to do it a lot. So let me spray this. I'll be right back. Give me like 2 minutes maximum. All right, so I have it sprayed. I have it sitting directly in the sun, so it should only take about 5 minutes. We'll give it a few minutes. Well, I don't know. Okay, so I have this drawing. I'm just gonna put this here so that we have something nicer to look at. And I'll sharpen my pencils since I used quite a bit of them. Let me try to catch up with some of the chat here. So let me see. I missed quite. Oh goodness, I missed quite a bit. Hold on one second. Still scrolling. Yes. Changes the whole. Got some of this. Trying to see anything that has my name. Okay. Oh, hello, Golden Claw. I missed you come into the live stream, so glad you made it. Thank you very much, Anna, for calling me a good teacher. Oh, hello, Wendy. I didn't see you come into the live stream. Okay, so I think I'm just about caught up. And I need to sharpen my pencil. Yes, so unboxing boxes that I will certainly have to. Gosh, I can't believe how big that is. And it, those cardboard pieces were actually really cheap. They were only I think 150 zloty, which is right around $40, something like that. So not very expensive at all. So very nice. What else did I miss here? Oh, thank you, Chrissy. Yeah, the bear's not completely done. I think there's still a little bit of room for, I don't know, making it look nicer. But I'd say it's pretty close. I don't know if I'll actually do anything else to it, to be honest with you. I kind of like the way that it looks now, so I'll probably just keep it like this. Hello, Noah, or Noi. Hello, Bridget. Good morning to you. So it's been like 3 minutes since I put the other drawing out in the sun to dry after spraying it. So we'll give it a couple more minutes and see how it is, and then we'll start adding some more layers of color. I put a pretty heavy coat of the textured fixative, but the textured fixative is basically hairspray. So yes, Chrissy, I'm glad that you noticed that the bear has a more smiley face. I don't remember who it was, but they were going to draw this. Actually, it might have been you, I think, that said they saw this same reference picture, but they didn't want to draw it because the bear looked so sad. Well, I made my bear look happy. So, yeah. It's an easy fix just by adding a little bit of smiley. And the tops of the eyes, if you make them arched like this, more archy, then they look smiley as well. So I wanted my bear to look happy, so that's what I did. Oh, hello, Crossing Cat. I didn't see you in the chat. I hope that you're enjoying your painting and you found a really nice spot for it on the wall. And you enjoyed the video. I know that you enjoyed the video, so I was really, really excited when you emailed me to let me know that you had received the painting. I was very excited to see your reaction when you opened it. Okay, so it wasn't you that was going to draw the bear, but then didn't. Okay. I can't quite remember who it was, but yeah, somebody had mentioned that they came across this same picture of the bear, but they didn't like it because the bear looked so sad. I'm just going to darken up some of the shadows here in the background while we actually it's been about 5 minutes, so enough staring at this bear. Let me go grab the drawing we've been working on the whole time. Should be good to go. All right. Oh, hold on. Yes. All right. Dropping pencils. All right. So I got all my pencils. Yeah, it's very dry. It's very dry. It's got plenty of texture to it. Now this paper seems to be handling the textured fixative pretty well, considering I don't have it mounted. So for any of you that have used the textured fixative on like kind of regular paper that's not mounted to a board. Now that's something that Aliona covers in her book quite a lot, that she's always mounting her paper to a board, which means she's gluing it down, and I think she uses a spray glue. I'd have to go back to the book to check, but I haven't went that far. I don't even know where to get boards to do it. So it's pretty damaging to the paper. It really wants to make it curl and stuff like that, and you can see it's starting to untape itself because it's pulling the paper together. But overall, it doesn't look too bad. So let's go ahead and add some more color. I want to add some nice yellow glow around this apple. So I'm just going to go back over top of it. Actually, I think what I should do first is I should add more powder blender. And I do it like this. I just put some of the powder blender onto the paper like this by tapping the side of the jar. Not a whole lot. I think that's probably more than I need. And then you just take your little foam brush and blend that out, or smooth out the powder. What the powder does is it fills in all the little gaps, all the little holes and crevices on the paper, making it really smooth and stuff. So I just like to do that with the powder. Get a nice even coverage all the way across the paper. It doesn't take very much effort at all. And you can see that going over top of it, I'm not blending out anything that was sprayed with the textured fixative. It's working perfectly. So now let's go through and add some of this yellow. Hold on, let me see what I miss. Oh, that's very cool. Actually, Crossing Cat, I would love to, if you don't mind, I'd love to see, or I'd love to get a picture, maybe of you standing next to the painting or something like that, if you wouldn't mind me sharing that maybe on Instagram, or you can share it on Instagram and just tag me in it, something like that. I would love to get a picture of you next to the painting to share. So when you get a minute, maybe you could do that for me. I'd really appreciate it. All right, now let's go back and add some more color here. I'm going to add some of this yellow to lighten up this spot around the apple. Still very light touch on the paper, and it actually makes a completely different scratchy sound than it was previously. It's almost like a hollow scratch. It could be because the paper's lifted up off the board, but very interesting how this blended out. I'm very curious to how this second layer is going to blend out, since it's not actually blending on the paper, the original paper. It's blending on top of the textured fixative. So might see it blend a bit differently. Now I probably should have done like 2 or 3 layers of the textured fixative, but seeing as how this is a live stream, and I'm not trying to bore you guys with watching paint dry, so I'm kind of rushing through this process, which I don't recommend ever rushing, but I'm breaking my cardinal rule right now as far as rushing goes. There's still some white showing through quite a bit right along the edge of the masking fluid here. And I'm even going to do some blending with the powder blender for the apple itself. I'll just like layer a layer of red, something like that, and go from there. But I don't think I'm going to get to the apple today. I don't even know how long I've been streaming, but I know I've been streaming for a little while now, and I don't think that I'm going to get that far. I do see here, there's a few spots where I do see a little bit of the pencil, like a line of pencil where I kind of colored like this, and I may have pressed a little bit too hard, or I just didn't blend it out entirely. But on this second layer here, I'm not getting as clear pencil strokes as I was on the initial layer. So I think as you add more and more layers, the pencil strokes just don't show up at all. All right, let's jump over to this brown here. I'm gonna add some more of this reddish brown around the edges here. Yeah, I can imagine, Chrissy. I was actually looking. So one of the winners from the 10,000 subscriber giveaway lives in Australia, and I asked her for a couple art stores online because the plan was for me to buy the supplies and just have them shipped from local Australia to where she lived, and it was insane how expensive the art supplies were. So the pastels, the Faber Castell, the 48 set was like 80 Australian dollars, and I was like, that is way too expensive. So instead, I ordered them from Jackson's. Actually, I think I ordered them from Amazon UK. I'm getting them shipped here, and then I'm just going to mail them to Australia because it's cheaper for me to do that than it would be for me to buy them local Australia and have them shipped mainland Australia, which is just ridiculous. So I can't, yeah, I can just, Australia doesn't seem very artist friendly, to be honest with you. The prices that I saw on the website were just outrageous. And then even more so outraging was the cost of the Carbothello pencils. The 12 pack of Carbothello pencils, if you buy them from like an art store that sells locally in Australia, it was like 90 or 80 or somewhere around there. Just ridiculous price for 12 of them. I can get 12 of them for like 17 pounds or something like that. Yes, Bridget, the paper that I'm using is the Canson Mi-teintes Touch. It's very specific. Canson has Canson Mi-teintes, and then they have Canson Mi-teintes Touch. You want to make sure that you're using the Mi-teintes Touch because the regular Mi-teintes is like beginner pastel paper, and it's not going to work with the powder blender whatsoever. The Mi-teintes Touch is a gessoed paper, so be very careful buying the paper. Make sure that you have the right one. I have the name written in the description if you want to see how to type it or whatever. Because I think Mi-teintes is French. I'm not 100% certain about that. And it's not spoken the way that it's typed or the way that it's spelled. Yeah, it seems like, Chrissy, that it'd almost always be cheaper to buy art supplies overseas and then have it shipped to Australia rather than buying locally Australia, because the prices were just so high on the website that I went to. And I checked a few websites, and some websites, they don't even have very good supply. They don't really have that many supplies to choose from. So I can imagine that it's quite a struggle for artists in Australia, because I thought that I had it bad here in Poland, but the truth is I can get everything from the UK. I just have to, cut off a few fingers and toes to pay for the shipping. Sometimes, like if I order supplies from Jackson's, I have to wait a long time where I need to order a bunch of supplies, because if I don't spend enough money, then I end up spending more money for shipping than I do for the supplies, it just drives me nuts. It's just so terrible. I mean, I'm not really looking forward to the cost of shipping to Australia, because I mean, I've shipped a few things to Australia already for the people that get prints from me. I think there's 2 of them, I'm not sure, from Patreon. And so I send them prints, but I don't remember it ever costing too much. You're welcome, Bridget. Also, Bridget, when you do the @Unmask, you have to also add the art in order for it to show up. Just so you know. Okay, Crossing Cat, you have a lovely day. Thanks for coming by. So the Mi-teintes touch paper, it's not too flimsy. It's not that bad. It's stiffer. I would say that it's stiffer than the UArt paper, and almost exactly the flimsiness or the non-flimsiness of the Clairefontaine pastel matte, because it's very similar to the Clairefontaine pastel matte. However, for pastels, I haven't used this paper. This is technically a pastel paper, kind of, sort of, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what they try to advertise this paper for. But one of the really annoying things about this paper is it has this border. Like, they don't give you a full sheet of gessoed paper. They have this really annoying border around the edge. Which I don't know if you can tell on camera here. So my tape ends here, but there's like this gap because I left the border here and here. I didn't feel like taking the time to cut it off, and it's like really slippery, and it kind of looks like poster board that you do like a school project on or something, real cheap and crappy. But yeah, all right, let's switch browns real quick. I'm gonna get a darker brown. Start filling in this edge over here. I'm waiting for it to get darker, but it's not getting any darker. I want it to go darker, but I am afraid to press any harder because I don't want to ruin, the blendability. And if I press too hard, I'm afraid I won't be able to blend it out as well. So I'm gonna add some black here in a moment to see if I can get some darker value out of this. Because I feel like it'd take like 15 layers in order to get it as dark as I want it. So hopefully that's not the case. Okay, so adding the fixative to get it darker. So adding, once I blend this out, add more fixative, add more layers, slowly it'll just get darker and darker. Yeah, hopefully it won't take too many of those layers though. You have more experience with this than I do on it, so how many layers would you say it takes to get like just the blackest black? So I want the edges to be almost like pure black, and I want to like super focus on the apple, like old school kind of still life oil painting, like Renaissance type oil painting, where it's like really dark around the edges, really strong vignette right towards the middle. And to be honest with you, I don't want a really flat background. I want some grain. I want some texture in there. So it's all kind of an experiment at this point, because I want the background to look painted on. So I don't want it to be like nice and smooth and clean. Because actually at this point it seems kind of easy to get that effect where everything's real consistent, real smooth gradient. So it can take like 3 to 5 layers to have it as dark as you want, but you can also add some black to it in a layer 1, blend, fix, go over, okay. Okay, Bridget. That's okay. You're forgiven. I'm glad that my live streams are so good that you procrastinate at work. Oh, okay, Anna. Yeah, I'm gonna add some black now, just to start getting in some of that darker value. Just a smooth layer of black. Because I noticed that like instead of like coloring on with the pencil, you kind of create this like dust that's almost like pastel, and then you use your little sponge thingy to blend that dust into the tooth of the paper. So it's like a mix between colored pencil and pastel. It's very interesting. Now I'm also going to add black down here to the bottom. And I think, I'm trying to think of where I want my light source. I have a reference photo of an apple, but it's just, it's nothing like, I gotta find it really quick. There we go. Yeah, so I'm just going to use, oh no, what is going on? I can't get my screen to show up. My screen is gone. I can't see anybody's chat because my screen is not. What is going on with my computer right now? This is not good. Okay, I think I got... Oh, that doesn't help. That was the wrong one. I'm messing everything up. Where's the chat? Okay, here's the chat. I got it. Okay, everything's good. You're all back now. So the question whether or not I prefer the Mi-teintes Touch or the pastel matte. Now, like you may have missed me say this, but I've never used the Mi-teintes Touch with pastels, so I can't make that comparison. But this is the first time I've ever used the Mi-teintes Touch paper, and yeah, it seems to be working well for this powder blender. So in that regards, I like the paper, but I can't compare it to the pastel matte because I've never used it with pastels before. But it seems to be working well with this technique. Okay, so under the apple I'm going to add a shadow. The drop shadow is going to be like this. Kind of nothing fancy. Simple drop shadow. The other thing, like, see, I'm used to burnishing my paper, getting like all the wax and everything just like layered over layer, and then it being like kind of painted look and smooth. And I don't feel like that's gonna happen with this technique, but I don't know yet. Maybe after like 5 or 6 layers, there just doesn't appear to be anything else to need to layer onto. But right now, it seems really, really loose and kind of not necessarily desaturated, but just not as vibrant as I'm used to working with the smoother paper and doing burnishing. I'm very curious to how this is all going to turn out in the end. So yeah, let's see. I'm going to go with some more reddish brown. Creep in on the middle here just a bit more. And also on the tabletop. Now for the background and the table, I don't have a reference photo. I just had an apple, and then I had kind of a painted texture background that I was looking at, the way that I kind of wanted to do the background. But the table and stuff, I'm just making this up. Essentially, I just have a backdrop, a graphic for the backdrop, and a picture of an apple. So all right, let's go ahead and blend it out and see where we're at with this. Also, don't need to use too much of the powder blender. Less is more. Otherwise, you start pushing the color away. Oh, okay. That could be the problem that I have here. I'll use less on the next layer. Oh, hello, Steven. Okay, now let's blend out this layer and see what we're working with here. I'm just gonna go horizontal. I'm not gonna really have much regard to anything. Just blending it all. Because I think I need, in order to keep my colors separated, I need to put them on different layers. So I had a bunch of yellow here in the middle, but I think it's just kind of being pushed around and overlaid with the brown. So I'm just going to kind of keep that separated in the future. So maybe the next layer I'll try to focus just on the values, because I'm not quite at the values that I want. So let's blend out this black here on the table that we had. And this is much more what I'm looking for here. You can see that it's much darker. The values are where the direction that I want to go here with the values. Blend out that shadow a little bit, and I really like the way that shadow kind of glided across the paper. Blend that out there. Yeah. So I'm going to take your advice on using less of the blender, the powder blender, so that I can control my colors a little bit better here. I feel like they're getting just pushed around a bit too much. Alright, so that's that layer. It's much more vibrant. After blending it out, I get a whole different perspective on it. So now I'm going to take my brush, which is sitting over there. I'm going to spray this one more time, and I'll be back in just a minute. So unfortunately, some clouds came in and decided to cover up the sun. So I'm just going to place this here so we have something nicer to look at than my blank table. So I'm thinking that it's going to take a little bit longer for it to dry, and I don't want to rush this layer. I don't really want to rush this layer. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and close out the live stream. I'm going to let that dry for, an hour or whatever. I might just continue this live stream on Wednesday. I don't have a whole lot going on Wednesday. And I know like every Monday I keep promising live streams on Wednesday and I never actually do it. So I think with this project, I think it's really important for everybody to get a chance to see really me using it for the first time in the real way. I mean, the first two ways, I never really shared it with anybody. They were awful. Didn't work the way that I thought it was going to work because I was only using the luminance pencils. This time I'm only using the polychromos, and as you just saw, it's blending amazingly. It's working really, really well. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep it the way it is. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to play with it anymore. I sprayed it. That's all I did. And I think we'll do some more layers on Wednesday. We'll continue layering. Maybe I'll do 2 more layers. Maybe we'll get to 3 since I've already got into it a little bit more, and hopefully we'll be able to peel off the masking fluid to reveal the apple, just to see how clean the lines are and things like that. But I think it's a really good experience to see it being used, especially if you haven't bought the powder blender before, because it's not really that expensive anyway. But at least this will give you an opportunity to see it being used, ask questions. You get my first response to me playing around with it, and so Wednesday for sure, I think I'll just continue playing with this little project here, and it will just be something that we do over and over again until it's done, I guess. So I'll probably work on it next Monday or something like that. And tomorrow I'm hoping to get a narrated tutorial up for fur and feathers colored pencils. Thursday I'm going to have a time lapse of something. I'm not quite sure what. Friday I'm going to be doing a tutorial over on Patreon. So if you support me on Patreon, I'll see you Friday for a live stream tutorial. And I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do. I think I might do a mixed medium still life over on Patreon. I'll be incorporating some markers along with colored pencils. A few people over on Patreon wanted me to do a mixed medium tutorial, so I think I'm going to do that this week. And then I don't know, I have some other things, some other ideas. I'm going to do a pastel piece. I'm going to be working with pastels, probably do an animal, like a more detailed, slightly bit more complicated pastel piece, probably incorporate some of my pan pastels that I haven't gotten to use in quite some time. I've been missing those. But other than that, it's been super fun hanging out with everybody. I look forward to getting back on Wednesday, and we're going to continue working on our little still life apple over there. And I really appreciate everybody coming by, hanging out, chatting, tolerating me constantly going to the door. And so that's it. Unless you guys have any last minute questions, I'm happy to stick around for a few more minutes if you have any questions, but otherwise I think I'm just going to head out and go do these dishes before my wife gets home. So I don't... Alright, so I don't see any questions coming in, but I'll still give it another minute. I'm trying to think of what else I have planned other than trying to finish the Intro to Colored Pencil course. I think I covered pretty much most of it. So yeah, no questions that I see coming in. Would it work with any fixative? So no, that's a good question. The powder blender is specifically going to be only working with the textured fixative. So the ACP textured fixative from Brush and Pencil is the only fixative that I am currently aware of that does what it does. There's textured fixatives for pastels and graphite, but I don't think there's another one that works with colored pencils this way. So you're going to have to go with the brush and pencil fixative. I have a few videos on that fixative specifically. I show you what it does. If you go back through my video library and check out just like the search bar and type brush and pencil, you'll probably see a few videos where I talk about that fixative specifically because I absolutely love it. Yeah, good question. Thank you for asking, Abigail. And I will see you all Wednesday when we continue working on our little apple here and playing with the powder blender. So thanks again, everyone, and I will see you next time. Take care. Peace.